I love it. And we have something else in common. Your backup singer, it's Peaches. Now, she had Peaches, the backup singer, she was just really doing all these. I was like, you don't do all those dance moves when you sing it back up behind me. How you get her to do that?
You know, my creative director, Jamel McWilliams, he got Peaches to do those dances. I can't take credit for that.
Oh my goodness. Well, next time she's gonna have to do a few steps for me.
She's
Now
got
that
that
I know that
backstage,
she can. Okay.
All right, you guys, we have a very exciting episode today. We have vocal powerhouse and arranger Chelsea West, better known as Peaches. You guys know her. You've seen her on stage with some acts like who?
She has been on with Kirk Franklin, Myron Butler, Jennifer Hudson, Janet Jackson, Nicki Minaj, Erykah Badu, Snoop Dogg, Brandy, Moby, Celine Dion.
Talk about her resume.
What in the world?
That's insane.
Right now, at this moment, she is on, we'll talk about it, but she's on with a very famous country musician. And you'll also hear how she performs with one of my favorites, Lana Del Rey.
Yeah, and stay tuned to the end because Kevin's going to get his own nickname today. Hey y'all, I'm Ashley.
And I'm Kevin.
And on today's episode of Hope Ignited, we are so excited to finally been joined by, this one's been a long time coming, the beautiful Miss Peaches. Welcome to the show.
Hey.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Vocal powerhouse, girl. We are so excited about this one. Hey, first of all, where are you calling from today? You're not here in the studio. Tell us where you're calling from.
I am calling from Montreal, Canada.
All right.
Nice.
You're on the road.
Yeah, my knowledge is like Justin Bieber and Michael Bublé and really good hockey.
Maple syrup.
And I'm done. Yeah.
And Celine Dion is from Canada.
Yes, I forgot about Celine. Yes, ma'am. She is. Okay, tell us about the nickname. I want to know how you got the nickname Peaches.
Well, first, let me just clarify that I would have never named myself Peaches. Ever, ever, ever. So my mother was named after her father. Her name is Tommy. So she has somewhat of a, boy name. And she always kind of resented the fact that she didn't have a nickname of sorts. So she just gave her daughters nicknames. So I'm Peaches. My older sister is Cookie. My next sister after that is Candy, who you guys are familiar with. And then I'm Peaches. So we got our nicknames at birth.
I love that. Do you have a nickname?
No, nothing good.
By the end of the show,
I'm coming up.
No, by the end of the show, I'm coming up with a nickname for you.
What's she gonna give me? No, it's got to come to you. You know how it is with nicknames.
Yeah, and it has to be food to be on par.
So,
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, it's your nickname, but when do you go by that versus, like when you're at the bank, it's just Chelsea, right?
Yes.
When you're doing a deposit.
When I'm taking care of my business and my monies, I am Chelsea. Outside of that, I am Peaches.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love that. Because you literally have it's like a Sasha Fierce or something, right? Where you have a stage persona. You got that when you're out there singing and stuff. Oh, you're actually in Montreal because you're singing with a professional singer that people may have heard of. Who is it?
His name is Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll.
He's a country artist, and he is fantastic.
That's right. He's super talented. We've heard a lot about him.
Did you get to meet his wife? She's awesome, too.
Yes, I love Bunny. I love her so much. She's a girl's girl. She's my kind of girl.
You want to talk about an inspirational story? Man, they are two of the very best. That's incredible.
Yes. That's why I love being in this environment because it's just very inspirational and encouraging,
Is he is he country genre? He's country, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like fully country. So that's fully amazing. Country. Like I know, like when looking at your extensive discography or who you performed with, it's just all over the place. You've got from all kinds of genres. So how do you find yourself in all these different genres?
I just have to believe that it's just God putting me on people's heart, because there is no real explanation. I don't have an agent. I don't have a manager, so it's just people putting my names in places and spaces that, provide me these types of amazing opportunities.
Yeah.
I think too, it's like, of course you're talented. We're, what an opportunity to be in the same room as you to the best of our ability via
Oh, my
Zoom, right?
goodness.
But I think the other thing too is, especially with, we're very fortunate that a couple of our producers on the show have known you for years. I think your reputation precedes you just from your work ethic and your integrity. One of the questions I have for you, Jelly Roll, for example, perfect example. When they talk to you, do they just care about your talent, or do they want to get to know you as a person before they invite you to come out on the road with them?
Every artist is different. Some artists, it's more just business, hired help kind of vibe. And there are some artists who have more of a desire to connect and be more like family with the people that they tour and travel with. Jelly is more that. He's very personable. At any given point, I'm liable to pass him in the hallway or by the buses, and he'll stop and ask me if everything's okay, if I have any problems, or, things like that. But that's not always the case. Every artist is different. So you just kind of never know what to expect. And I'm always open. If an artist wants to keep it strictly business, I have no problem with that. I'm able to do that. If an artist wants to build more of a personal rapport, then I'm okay with that as well. I kind of let them lead the way with that.
Yeah, that's impressive. I would be hard. I want to be everybody's best friend all the time. So that would be really hard for me. Tell us about maybe some of the friendships you formed through this business. Are there any artists that you went out on the road with that maybe you now consider family?
Oh, one of my favorite people in the whole wide world at this point is Tori Kelly. And I started working with her very casually. We did a video and a live performance, and then I ended up going on tour with her. And after that, she is like family. Like, we celebrate birthdays when we can and holidays when we can, She's probably been the closest that I've gotten to after work.
What an icon.
Jennifer Hudson as well. Jennifer Hudson, we've gotten, pretty close. I can text her if I needed to, or sometimes, she'll text me randomly. She has this thing where, she says that I'm so famous, which is so weird to hear from an EGOT winner,
Right.
And she always says everywhere she goes, people always mention me to her. So she's gotten to the point to where when it happens, she'll send me a video like, I told you you're famous. I told you. And it's so funny, but it's just I don't know. Sometimes I have a hard time believing that this is my life.
Right.
Well, and I know, even earlier we were joking about this a little bit about how hard the life can actually be. I think that's one of the things I've learned by being friends with Doug and Jana, over the years, is just knowing that it's so much harder for people. They see you up on the stage with Michael Bublé or, Jennifer Hudson or someone, and they think, oh, it's so glamorous. And tell me a little bit about what isn't glamorous about being in the business that you're in and you doing this full time.
To me, I always tell people the performing is the easy part. I don't feel like I technically get paid to perform. That's easy. It's the other stuff. It's the travel. It's the buses. It's the lugging luggage. It's the early lobby calls, the late bus calls. It's the extra stuff. It's, sometimes when you've been away from home for a long time and people get, a bit spicy,
Yeah.
It's the other things that lead to getting to the stage. I feel like those are the things I actually get paid for. The performing part, that's the easiest, but everything else surrounding that is definitely not easy.
Well, that's when you turn on.
It is a job.
Yeah. Speaking of that, you have a family. I want to talk about what it's like as a mom traveling for such an extensive period of time and leaving your family. Tell me how that works.
It was harder in the beginning. My travel life didn't really start picking up till my son was maybe about 4 or 5. And even then it was still light compared to what it is now. And it wasn't easy. He's very much a mama's boy. He's very much attached to my hip. So in the beginning it was harder, but I always tried to get him to understand the bigger picture. I've always been very communicative with him, even when he was small, because I wanted him to understand why I was doing what I was doing. I'm not just going to have fun. I'm going to try to create a better life for us, which took a while to do, being a single mother and trying to pursue a dream. I don't know if I would recommend that to anybody. But I am a living witness that it's possible. And as he got older, his understanding grew, his patience and his grace for me grew. And now he's, doing his own thing, and he's in music and he models. And, so I'm grateful that he had the exposure that he had, because it helped to shape who he is and what he wants to do with his own life. So it wasn't easy by no stretch of the imagination, but I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah, but kudos to you, because our kids have to see great to be great. So that says a lot, again, about the type of person
Thank
that
you.
you are. So it's not always easy, but girl, you're doing it. And now other people are going to be able
Thank
to do it
you.
because they see you doing it.
Absolutely.
You touch on your family. Tell us more about, you come from a music-minded family. I want to hear more about your family.
Yes, I grew up with, my mother's a singer, and she had a R&B soul album out in the 70s, which her first single went gold. And she walked away from that career because her father was a Kojic bishop, Church of God in Christ denomination. And his preacher buddies were kind of giving him a hard time about his daughter singing the blues. So growing up with her, she never wanted us to feel stifled in any way creatively. So she was always finding ways to keep us involved in music programs. She taught us harmonies and how to sing from the beginning. But from there, any opportunity she found, be it a dance. My Kitty and I have so many random memories of auditions that we really didn't have no business going to or being at, but my mom heard about something and she was just like, "Oh, my girls can dance. Oh, my girls can do that. Go do the little dance you do."
They're putting you on the spot, right? Like you had to go in there sometimes. Like, what did mom just sign us up for?
Exactly. So much of that. But now, in hindsight, at the time, it was frustrating because she was a stickler about everything. It had to be right. You need to know how to sing all parts and stay on your part and don't mess up and this, that, and the third. And at the time, I didn't get it. I was young. I just wanted to be young and enjoy my young life, whatever that meant. But in hindsight, I'm so grateful that she had the vision to see what I could not see, because that training has enabled me to do what I'm currently doing, and being able to move from genre to genre seamlessly is because of the training that she provided in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. That's so good.
I when you go down your, again, the people that you've worked with and what you've done, it's extraordinary. Like one of the things, Moby, Celine Dion, Big Sean, these are people that, you've been on recordings with them. I'm so fascinated on the behind the scenes about talented people and talent and how artists construct a song or a hit or anything like that. Who has impressed you? Like let's talk about studio moments for a second. Like some moments where you've been in the studio and you saw truly mind-blowing talent.
Oh, that's so tough. That is so tough, because a lot of times artists aren't always there when we're doing whatever we're doing. Every now and again, the artists are there. And in those cases, I appreciate when they're there, because typically they know exactly what it is they want, which prevents us from just shooting in the dark,
Yeah.
Who's been the most impressive? Honestly, probably, again, Tori Kelly. She's like a freak of nature.
She's a baby angel. I agree. You also have Tori Kelly hair going. I feel it. I love it. I'm here for it.
I call her my little Disney princess because she's so sweet. But vocally, she is flawless. Like, I have seen her sing a song from top to bottom. No mistakes. Like,
wow.
None.
Totally
none.
in control.
And a lot of artists have to record line for line, to make sure it's right. Mm-hmm. Not her. You just press record and let her go. Just let her go.
Wow.
She's probably been the one that's left me most in awe in the studio.
Something that y'all have in common too is coming from a reality television singing show. I want to know your heart on these talent shows. Let's get into the sing off. I want to know more. What do you think of this world of like these vocal talents being discovered on shows like American Idol, like The Voice, and then take us behind the scenes of the sing off?
Season 4 sing off, right?
Season 4, yes. Mm-hmm. I think that any opportunity for an aspiring artist to get in front of people to share their talent is a blessing. I wish that a lot of these shows were more intentional with what they did with the talent beyond the show. But still, having the exposure on such a major platform, it could still work depending on what your personal plan is. My personal experience on the sing-off, it was definitely a life-changing experience. It was definitely a life-changing experience, but what I learned from the behind-the-scenes access is a lot of times the talent doesn't have the freedom to be who they may want to be creatively. The producers really have the power to kind of dictate how you present yourself to the world. And I wish that was different. Because what it does, it takes a person out of a place from authenticity to more of a contrived idea, which I just don't feel like is fair to the individuals who are just trying to be their best selves and they just want an opportunity. So let them show up as themselves and find ways to hone that and to polish that versus trying to make them something that they may not even really resonate with. But just for the sake of being on TV, a lot of people are willing to, not settle per se, but kind of shift however they need to for the opportunity. Because, a lot of times in this industry, when you stand up for yourself, that can be kind of detrimental to your future.
Yeah. And tell us more about how the show changed your life.
The show's changed my life in probably the most unexpected ways. I have a tendency to make mountains out of molehills in my head. And when the opportunity was presented to me to put a group together for the show, I don't think I really, because I personally don't watch singing competition shows. My mother watches all of them. I don't particularly, watch them like that. So when I was asked to put a group together for the show, I did it with no real idea of what it was that I was really doing. I just knew that this was an opportunity that other people could benefit from as well. And I was looking at that. But I remember going to a friend of mine that was in the group to tell her that I had been asked to put a group together for this show. And she was just like, "Have you seen that show?" And I was like, "No, I've never seen it." She was just like, "We can't do that." And I was like, "Yes, we can." It's like, I feel like if we have Deonis, who was our vocal arranger in the group, I was like, I feel like if we have Deonis, we can do anything. And it was one of those mountain moments that once we really got into it, once we were selected for the show and the ball really started moving, I was just like, uh-oh, what have I done? But it showed me personally that I really can't do anything. I'm not one to always live in the fullness of my potential. I am very critical of myself, probably hypercritical. And so I don't always, maybe I underestimate my abilities sometimes. And doing that show, and we made it all the way to the end, and we were competing. Mind you, I put this group of people together randomly. I just kind of handpicked people that I felt like could work. We had never sang together collectively before. We had never done a cappella music. The guy Deonis I mentioned before had never arranged a cappella music before. But we outlasted all the groups that do this on a regular basis, and we made it all the way to the finale. And we lost to an amazing group that absolutely deserved to win. But even getting as far as we got was just like a personal reminder to do it afraid. Regardless if I feel prepared or if I feel like I'm good enough or I feel like it'll work or if I'll fail, the least I can do is try. And when I try, I typically surprise myself.
Oh, that's so good.
Your shirt that you said "Do It Afraid," was that obviously it's a friend that made your shirt, which is super cool. We were talking about that a few minutes ago, right?
Yes. So a friend of mine was on Broadway. She was on MJ the musical, and she had overcome, and she's kind of later, she's kind of in her 50s, so she overcame a lot to get to the point that she got to with overcoming fear, which is an issue for a lot of us, even as believers, is really believing that we have what it takes to fulfill the purpose God gave us, when you think about it, if he gave you a purpose, then that would automatically, kind of mean that you have what it takes, but we tend to overthink and, you know, so she did this as she was closing out her run on MJ the Musical. So for those who could make it to the show, the way of showing our support was, you know, getting a shirt to just kind of align with her idea of pursuing whatever it is you feel in your heart to do, even if you have to do it afraid.
That's so good.
Well,
Next tattoo for sure.
What is something you've done afraid? I mean, obviously, you just talked about the show that you did. That must have been, you know, somewhat frightening to get out there the first time.
Everything I've done it afraid. I grew up very shy. The part of growing up in a musical family that they don't tell you is sometimes feeling inadequate and feeling like you don't compare. I grew up with two powerhouses, you know, powerful women in every aspect of the words. And I just didn't always feel like I lived up to the standard of excellence that they set, which created I was very shy. I didn't want to be seen. I would hide, and Jana knows, you know, I would have an opportunity to, you know, audition to be a part of the Rebirth record. I didn't even want to audition. I've known these people for years, but I was too afraid to do that. So honestly, anything I've ever done, even when I get calls for studio sessions, I oftentimes don't know what they're looking for, what they want. So I go in all the time blind, and it's always my prayer, like, Lord, I hope I can, you know, deliver whatever it is that they're looking for. So honestly, from being a mother, I did that afraid. I was terrified. To when I decided to relocate to Los Angeles from Dallas in 2016, I was terrified. But I did that afraid, and that was one of the best moves I ever made in my life. It changed my life.
Okay, so one of our favorite things that we have an opportunity to do is to let the fans of the show know who's coming on, and they write in questions. So we do have a couple questions I wanted to ask you. One person was telling us that you have some type of a cause connection to breast cancer. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
I actually don't know. I don't have a personal connection to breast cancer stories.
Yeah.
Thankfully,
Praise the Lord.
I haven't had any loved ones suffer with that illness that I know of. No.
What about cancer? Has cancer touched your life in any way?
Yes, cancer has. Cancer took my father in 2012. He had liver cancer.
I'm sorry.
So yes, I have been impacted by cancer. Absolutely.
And you know, a lot of what we do is a lot like you're talking about your career and your day to day. We talk about how hope is stronger than fear. Can you tell us a little bit about what hope means to you?
Hope. I sing with an artist, and she has a song and a line in the song. She says, "Hope is a dangerous thing for a woman like me to have."
Okay, Lana.
Exactly.
I see you, Lana.
You know Lana.
Oh, yeah, you know it.
That's my girl. I sing with Lana, too.
Oh, she's that. Really? You sang with Lana?
Yes.
Okay, we have to come back to that in a second. I want to hear the rest of your thought on this, though.
Yes. Hope, much like faith, are the foundation of my being. You know, I kind of look at hope the same way I look at faith. To me, they're not much different. And I've had very low moments. I've had very low moments in life that when I was in the thick of it, it felt like the end. It felt like the end of me. But one thing that I've always had was hope, and just hope and faith that one day, you know, things maybe would change, or, you know, I just always hoped that things would change. And with the hope is action. The Bible says faith without works is dead. So when I found myself in those low places in Dallas with really nothing to show for the work that I've done, and really nothing to look forward to, and I made the decision, hope is what gave me the courage to leave Dallas. You know, faith, the action of that to say, you know, kind of, what's the worst that can happen?
Yep.
What do you have to lose, really? But so much to gain. Just, you know, just trying. Hope is the try. You know, faith is the fuel that just honestly keeps me going. And sometimes I look at my life and I feel like a crazy person because I have built my life up where I really have nothing to depend on but faith. You know, it's like you said, people who work a 9 to 5 or work in corporate America, you know what it is from day to day, month to month, year to year. There's no questions, there's no doubts. There's, maybe a little fear now with, the economy and where the world is. But for the most part, you know what things are from moment to moment. For me, I have no idea what's what from moment to moment. When one tour ends, all you can do is hope that you get another call for another one, and when that's over, all you can do is hope that something else will come up. So that's honestly that is my existence.
Go ahead, ask about Lana.
Well, it's an amazing answer on that, by the way, because absolutely, you're having to live it. You're talking about having to do these things afraid, and I think hope sounds like that's hope and faith are the fuel to get you through that. Because if you didn't have the belief that something good was going to come from the thing you're afraid of by pressing through, then you wouldn't have the courage to go through it, I have to imagine. But
absolutely. And another aspect of that is exposure. Even when I had nothing, even when I was at my lowest, God always found ways to expose me to more. Expose me to environments that shifted what I saw as a possibility, which also gave me different levels of hope. Because I'm just of the mind, like, I just don't believe that God would expose me to certain things that I myself could not have.
Yeah, like you're always being confronted with these little challenges that are stretching out of your comfort zone, and you sort of look up after you're looking back at your life, and you're like, I have done a lot of things. You have to feel that way, like just wow. Like if you look at your resume, which is always hard to do, right? I hate looking at my own because we all have to pump ourselves up, know, the LinkedIn kind of stuff, whatever. But when you every once in a while you look at your life in someone else's perspective, from someone else's perspective, and you go, oh my gosh, I've done a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, wow, I've done a lot of things. So speaking of that, yes, I do want to ask about Lana Del Rey a second. What have you done with her?
Okay. I started working with Lana Del Rey in 2023. So it was her comeback after she had taken a bit of a hiatus after COVID and all of that. So I started working with her in 2023.
Like some performances or studio?
Yeah, we did some touring. We did touring in America. We did some touring in Europe. We went to Brazil. We kind of went all over the place. I did Coachella with her last year. I'm actually getting ready to start rehearsing with her in a couple weeks. We're going to do Stagecoach. So yeah.
Tell her Kevin says hi.
I'm such a huge fan. Like, my daughter and I really like her a lot. But tell her we want to meet her husband at some point, Jeremy, the alligator wrangler. Have you met him? Have you met Jeremy?
I have not, because once they got married, the last work that they had, I'd started with Jelly Roll. So I didn't get to meet him because I hopped over with Jelly Roll. So I hope I get to meet him as we're getting ready for Stagecoach.
That'll be it. You'll be like break bread and crawfish together. That's the perfect Cajun segue for my favorite.
She's so excited about the Louisiana angle and that. Well, I hope that Lana shows up with some snakes or alligator boots or something like that.
100, and he got them for her. Yeah, he procured them. Exactly.
That sounds about right.
My favorite singer, artist that you have ever performed with that I have to know about is Jon Batiste. Tell me about him. He's my absolute favorite human, favorite singer. Tell me all about him.
Well, the first time I worked with Jon Batiste was with Lana Del Rey, because he did Coachella with us last year. And then no, that's not true. Is that true? Well, no, I did the Grammys with Jon Batiste last year. And then he did Coachella with us in April of last year. And he and Lana together it was so funny, but it's like seeing two real creatives in their element just zoning completely out. Like, they found a part on a song and they were at it for about 2.5 hours, just vibing and having a good time. But being in those environments where you see people be able to do their thing it's inspiring. It's just like, wow, okay. And I'm a very observant person. I like to learn by watching people.
Yeah.
And so when I get to see people in their truest element, I'm like a sponge. I just try to take up everything I can.
You know, that's how we feel about this interview with you right now. Like, you're inspiring us and you're
cut
making
it
us
out.
better. Hey, speaking of that, I do have one more question from viewers. So they told me to ask you, and I don't know why, but I'm anxious to hear your answer. What did you think of the Luther Vandross documentary? Tell us more about that.
I adored the Luther Vandross documentary. I felt like it was a very clear depiction of his story. And as a background singer, I can absolutely relate to his story and his journey. A lot of times when you assume the role as a background singer, people assume that that's where the buck will stop for you. But he was one of the few that was able to make a very impactful career beyond being a supporting artist for other artists. And as someone who has, aspirational dreams of being an artist at some point and releasing music of my own, it's encouraging to see that A, there's no time limit on age. B, when it's your moment, it's your moment. And C, God will put the people in your life. Like, one of my favorite parts of the documentary is when he was working with Roberta Flack, and she saw that he was so much more than singing tenor for her, to the point to where she encouraged him to just go and pursue his own thing. Because the thing is, the more time you spend building someone else's dream, the less time you have for your own.
Preach.
So, and because this is what we do to take care of our responsibilities and everything that encompasses, it's sometimes hard to make that hard choice to say, I'm going to take this time to invest in myself, because bills don't stop. So when you have somebody like a Roberta Flack that says, hey, I'm not going to allow you to waste any more time not pouring into you. It was just very encouraging to see that he did not allow what so many people's story was and how their story ended to be a thing for him. Like the whole 20 feet from stardom.
Yes.
That's usually it.
Yeah.
That's usually as close as you get. But there are those rare occasions where somebody does defeat the odds. And he was one of those. And I resonated with that because I just feel like I am too.
What else do you think they got right in that documentary, 20 Feet from Stardom? If you guys haven't seen that, highly recommend it. It's one of the most amazing documentaries. They focus particularly. What's the woman's name that they focus on predominantly? The Rolling Stone backup singer.
What is her name?
She's so talented.
Lisa Fischer.
Lisa Fischer, yes.
Right.
What I appreciated about 20 Feet from Stardom is just showing the importance of what we do. A lot of times, we can be made to feel very disposable, as if our place and position on that stage is not as valuable as a drummer or as the bass player or whatever. It's just like, no, what singers add to a show is unlike any other addition. It's indescribable. Honestly, you take an artist with just the band, you're going to enjoy yourself, but you add singers into the mix that have great energy and performance energy. Yeah. It elevates the whole experience.
Yeah.
It gives the artist some support, it gives the artist some push, like, okay, I got help, I'm not out here by myself. So I'm just glad that it gave the world a look into our world to see what we do, because even a lot of times I think people think that we're just having fun. I don't think that people consider what we do real work. And it is.
Oh, yeah, it is real work. Hey,
it is real work.
A couple quick questions for me before we let you go, because I do want to be respectful of your time. But carrying that over with real work, I want to know how long, what is your runway like when Jelly's like, hey, come on the road with me, for you to learn his songs? What is that like? Pull back the curtain on that for me.
Okay, so I'm going to be honest. I have a very strange gift to learn music and material strangely fast. I don't know what it is. I don't know what is happening in my mind. But it's like if I listen to a song, I've never heard one time through. By that second time, I've already learned some words. I know the melody, and by the third time, I'm singing it.
That's we need to bring you on Name That Tune. Girl, you win $1 million every episode.
Dominate on that.
For real.
It's just been, when you've been in so many situations where you have to learn things fast, things change last minute. It's like, oh, we're not going to do that. We're going to do this. So honestly, all the years from my youth up until now, we're really training for this place. It didn't feel like that at the time. It felt like punishment, but it was training. It really was. So thankfully, I don't struggle with learning music and material for shows. Even I was in a situation one time, and this is when I learned, like, okay, you'll maybe a little off or something. I gotten called to sub for a girl that was getting ready to go on tour with Demi Lovato. Her father had passed away. Mind you, they had been rehearsing for this tour for weeks. So I come in literally maybe 2 days before the first night, and there were 21 songs. There was stage blocking, there was choreo, so many different elements that went into it. And by the time showtime came, I knew everything I needed to know.
That's wild. Well, my second question was going to be choreography. Like, how much of a prereq is that? I mean, I know it probably depends on the genre and the artist, but what's the most dancing you've done?
The most dancing I've done?
Outside of Mardi Gras, yeah.
Probably would be when I worked with Usher.
I bet,
on roller skates.
Thankfully, I did not have to go on roller skates. But I advise aspiring BGVs, if you want to do this at a high level, get comfortable with movement. If you're not comfortable with movement, get in some dance classes, because the higher up you go, it comes with it. And so many singers shoot themselves in the foot because they're amazing vocally, but they're uncomfortable moving. You start throwing choreo at them and they start sweating. It's just like, no. This is what you said you wanted to do.
Yeah.
So let's get it going.
What's the goofiest thing anyone asked you to wear or do on the stage where you wish the video would permanently be deleted?
Right.
Well, I have two for sure. Anytime I have to wear a choir robe, I want to disappear.
We know where that one's going. We know.
I hate a choir robe. If it's not a gospel artist and we're not singing gospel music, it just feels...
Yeah.
It gives me the ick.
Yeah,
it's like sacrilegious or something. Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, it gives me a weird ick, and I just don't like it. So a lot of times I ask in the beginning, like, will this require me to wear a robe? Because honestly, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And then when I was working with Kanye in Sunday service, what we would wear sometimes got very odd.
Yeah. I bet kind of a blur of both, I imagine, a little bit. Right?
Yeah. Next question, please. Next question.
Yes.
What, has that guy been in the news recently? I don't know.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Good.
Keep moving on.
Well,
hey, that's not your fault. That's not your fault.
Peaches, I just want to say what it means to us that you made time for us. We know how busy you are. We're literally stealing Jelly Roll's time right now, which, hashtag that. But it's so cool to finally get to talk to you. This has been a long time coming. When I tell you, you have fans in the stands, there are people that are a part of this show that adore you and admire you. And it's just an honor that we finally got a chance to connect.
It's an honor for me to be here. I'm really happy that Jana connected me with you guys and we were able to make this happen.
Yeah.
But before we go, can you give a little advice to a young, aspiring teenage girl or boy singer who feels called to do this in their life? They don't really know what their future looks like or if this is even possible.
Listen to everything. Listen to all types of music. Get very active. If you're not in church, one of the greatest training grounds for any singer is church. It's just, you can tell the difference with the singer who grew up in church and singers who did not. And if church is not your thing by some chance, then get as active as possible on your local music scene. The more you do anything, the better you get at it. And it's singing is and performing is one of those things you have to just do it. You have to do it. Open mics. You know, in whatever city an aspiring singer may be in, I always will encourage you to go. And if you're not ready to perform as a solo artist, see who the MD of the house bands are. See if they need backgrounds. Tell them you may be willing to work for free your first couple times just to get some experience, to get your feet wet. Pay your dues. Nothing is going to come easy. You have to be willing to put the work in even when it's hard.
Well, you have proven that with your life. You put in the work, and you've been quite an inspiration along the way. Thank you so much for this wonderful interview today. Like, we just wish you all the best on the rest of your tour and the next adventures that you have.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Peaches. We'll see you soon.
Okay. See you soon, Peaches.
I look forward to it.
What an insane episode.
Oh, I loved it. If you're a musician or singer, this was just so informative and inspiring.
What a cool thing to have the behind the scenes. I know for me, I mean, one, as a mom, I'm just so intrigued by that. Like, I feel guilty when I work late and she's in another country for, weeks, months at a time. Also, the behind the scenes of like the runway of having to have the material and how you can do that best for a singer. The choreography, I always wondered that. Like, I think some people think it's like a little side, like, snapping your face. No, they do legit choreography.
And she said, like, the higher up you go, the more is expected of you and required of you. Because obviously, those artists, you ever go to like a really great concert and you hear an artist and they, like a big artist, and it's a show. Like we were talking, a friend of mine and I, or producer and I were talking a minute ago about 21 Pilots, a band that my family loves. Their shows are unreal. Like it's like 2.5 hours of them doing backflips and pyrotechnics, and all the fans know the parts are supposed to come in and do all that kind of thing. And like there's no opportunity for you to sort of not know how to dance or do things like you're at that level. Because you got to keep people entertaining in a coffee shop.
And the fact that she can do it so quickly, I think is what makes her one of the very best. And Jon Batiste, oh my gosh, to fill my NOLA heart. Yeah. It was so wonderful speaking about Jon Batiste. But some of your takeaways, I want to hear your favorites.
Well, of course, I nerded out. Legitimately didn't know this. I didn't see this on her list when she was talking about Lana Del Rey. Big fan of hers and stuff. So that was cool hearing that and hearing behind the scenes. But I was really, really inspired by her take on fear and even the shirt she was wearing. But this concept of just like, you see this artist and they're clearly, they are at the pinnacle of their game. And you think, oh, she's not afraid of anything. Yeah. And to realize that her entire life since she was a little girl was about being uncomfortable on purpose, to grow through that, the mental strength that you have to do that. And I think, and then I love the inspiration that she gave at the end for younger performers, just that you just got to put in the work.
That means that there's a chance for Doug.
Yeah. Speaking of putting
producer
in the work.
Doug, we thought it would only be appropriate if we ended this amazing episode with Peaches with a little name that tune, because if there's anybody that could name every tune, it would be Peaches. So while producer Doug is coming in to help us out with some keyboard, it's only fair that I go ahead and give you your nickname that I promised you.
Oh, I don't know.
You could see the wheels turning the whole time. No, because it's just going to happen. My question to you is, though, am I going to get a food nickname? Have you thought about it at all? Because yours is like tip of the tongue, very obvious, the greatest food nickname ever of all time.
Beignet or something.
Oh, that would be a good one. Yeah. Dang it. I should have thought about that.
For short.
Do you want to know what it is?
Okay, what?
Tapioca.
Tapioca? That's the stupidest nickname ever.
You look like Tapioca.
I look like Tapioca. I know I gotta get back in the gym.
Tapioca just rolls off. It just rolls off. So what's up, Tap?
Yeah, Tap. No, see, that's why they have to come to you. You can't force it.
I'm not forcing it.
Because that's garbage. I reject that. I seek the counsel on this.
We can do beignet if you want. Everybody wants to be Cajun. I understand that. All right, me, Tapioca, and beignet are going to do a little name that tune for you. So here's how it's going to go. Competition, 5-ish tunes. We don't have the whiteboards today. We're just going to yell it out. In the spirit of audio competitions, we're just going to yell it out. You're thinking of my nickname right now.
We're running high production quality here. We got the... 1985 Casio keyboard that you got at Salvation
Yes.
Army?
A non-player.
Yes.
Oh well, no. Doug's actually a player, but he's this is not his main expertise.
We're still
instrument.
working on the
He's a singer.
choreography. Yeah, but the keyboard just comes natural.
But you look like a guy who would do that. You look like a cruise ship guy. You know,
Oh.
like doesn't he? He looks like a cruise ship professional.
and/or Pete's Piano Bar. Yeah, it's fine.
You got
Put some water.
Yeah. Okay.
bus tables in the morning.
So
play
let's
the
just
lounge
try
at
it.
night.
Let's just try. So you're gonna play briefly.
I'm
And
going to play a real quick song, and you have to guess which song it is.
are these songs that we know? Is this songs from
It's
like
songs-
y'all's era, 25 years before I was born?
It's songs you know.
25 years.
Ish.
It's songs you know. The problem is I probably can't play them. I'm going to miss like a couple notes in between there, so you're going to have to guess.
You're thinking of my name right now,
Okay,
aren't you?
Beignet, let's go.
Okay, here we go. First one.
Jingle bells, jingle bells.
I already messed up.
It's the wedding march. Oh, do
Do I diddy bitty dum bitty
There
do
you go.
by
by Porcupine Shell.
You have to sing it
down
first.
this tune.
Do I diddy diddy dum diddy do.
Looks good.
Wait, so we win. I
Do
win.
wah diddy.
Oh, okay.
Do
Do
Wah
I diddy. I
Well,
would
who
have never
sings
known
it?
that was the
it's
name
like
of the song.
a 60s group, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for starting out strong with
Yeah.
25 centuries ago. Yeah, that's fine. Gosh, okay. Next song.
Wait, she gets the point for
Point.
that? I could have sang the whole thing too. Here we are, like walking through the minefield called, copyright protection, trying to figure out how to do this. Because
Me-
I would just go
We're just,
all in
tap,
if we
tap,
didn't have.
tapioca into it.
This is
Yeah.
educational purposes only. Whatever, all the disclaimers.
Yep. Okay.
Go-
I'll
Please
make
don't.
this a little
Please
harder.
don't sue us, Sony.
Oh, that
BMG.
was pretty hard. That was pretty hard. Yeah.
No, I thought it was Jingle Bells.
I'm going to make this a little harder. I'm only
Point.
playing the intro chords.
Okay, Fly to the
I don't
Bumblebee.
know what that means. It's scaring me. Do you
Getting
know?
hot in here by Nelly.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you know that is literally one of the
This is
my
our theme
favorite
song.
artists of all time?
I just feel like
I
I
had
went-
completely let him
I feel like I
down.
broke into your house and snatched your baby up
And
and
my
ran out the front door
soul-
if you knew what happened.
Gosh, I'm gonna literally get my country grammar tattoo removed
It's
because of that.
ridiculous. You ought to be ashamed.
Also, I
yourself.
don't have a
That's the
tattoo.
biggest debacle since the NASCAR name off that we did that you destroyed me in.
Well, you can't win them all.
So yeah, no, I know.
One and one.
Okay, let's go.
So ashamed.
I
This
got
isn't
some
the
momentum
melody,
now.
but we'll see if you get this one.
Okay. It helps me when you start doing what you're doing. Get low? Yeah. Get low. Okay. Yin Yang Twins?
That was excellent, by the way.
Thank you.
You had a nice
Especially your
flourish.
dancing.
You're getting the most out of that Casio.
Peaches has some choreography competition over here with Kevin doing whatever he was just doing in his seat.
And I love it. There's no sustain at all on it. It's just
I don't get it till you start going. So not to spoil it for you, but I get it when you start doing whatever it is you're doing over
Yeah.
there.
We need a whistle too in the background.
Let's try this one. Just the intro.
Oh, I know it. Adele.
What is the song title?
Can I get a half a point? Because I know it was Adele.
Okay. Hello.
Can you sing
And then
it?
I
Can you
started
really do
blending
it?
in.
Really try.
Is it me you're looking for? I always get messed up because I start
Oh, that
merging the
was
two
good.
together. You know what I mean?
That I don't
The
really.
Lionel
We
Richie.
both get half a point.
Yeah.
1.5
I'd say
to
that's a
1.5?
push. That's a push.
No, you probably have more than me. I don't know.
1.5.
Okay.
2.5 to 1.5. I think. Right.
This is harder than I thought.
2.5.
Oh, wait.
Your chair squeaking helps.
I messed up.
It's a musical instrument.
Not good at this. Give me a hint, Kevin.
Oh, I
Do
don't know.
something.
I'm trying. I'm struggling. What genre, Doug?
Rhymes with.
Listen.
We are. Can I have a hint? Can we have a hit that doesn't sound like
Maybe a word.
childbirth? I came in like a wrecking ball.
What?
You're welcome.
Wait, play that again now that I know it's Wrecking Ball. Because I. Is that the verse?
Smiley, yeah.
And then play the chorus. I would have known the chorus.
Also, figuratively, what's happening in our brains right now.
Oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
That was hard. That was hard.
Okay,
that
this
challenged
one's
me.
for all the monies.
Okay, that was a disaster.
This is
All
this
right.
is the last one for all the monies.
All right.
Please be happy birthday.
Please be Nelly again. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Kendrick. Not like us.
Not like us. Not like us.
And that's how it's done. Dollar bills, y'all.
She only got that because it was very culturally like popular. In the
This
last
was
6
tailored to
months.
me. Besides,
She doesn't know
do all
anything
diddy
before 6 months
dum
ago.
diddy do. She said everything. Do you have my nickname yet?
Well, no, just beignet or whatever is fine. The nickname, no. Let me just say this. Get this out of the way here. Again, you do not force a nickname. I've never seen one good nickname happen from being forced. It
That's
has
fair.
to come to you. So
It was
when
on theme for the episode.
when we get a
though.
good nickname, we need to run it by other people, the
That's
council,
fair.
and then they approve it.
Or if you guys have suggested
Yeah.
nicknames,
Sure, it's
Let
got to
us
be better
know.
than call me Tapioca.
I had to think long and hard about what it was. The whole episode,
Tapioca.
I was like, "What is that fish-eyed pudding thing?"
Yeah.
Okay, well, this was fun. You need
Thanks,
to come
Doug.
on more.
You did a good job. Let's give it up
You
for
have got
producer
to
Doug.
come on. Yes, that was good.
Amazing.
That was
I'm
good.
sure the audience was riveted by that performance.
Yeah, a lot of
incredible
thinking.
stuff.
A lot of thinking. Well, this was fun. I
That was
really
fun.
enjoyed
Yeah.
time with Peaches and producer Doug. It was a good music-filled episode, and we have some upcoming really big music icons. So I think it's like kind of getting us on the right track for some episodes that we're going to drop soon.
Yeah, I love talking to musicians. I mean,
Yeah.
being a musician at one point or throughout my life in different points, I'm just, I love it. I'm so fascinated by people who really make a good run of it. And obviously, you get someone like Peaches who's done so much in her life and accomplished so much. It's just such an inspiration. So please share this if you were inspired by it. Share it with some of your friends, musicians. We especially always want to have the young people listen to it when we get someone on like her who's sharing some great wisdom. We appreciate any likes and subscribes that you can give. It really helps us tremendously to get the word out.
Yes,
So
a
thank you for your
professionally
support.
trained karaoke artist. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, so we can quit our day jobs, right?
That's right.
Actually, we're going to quit our day jobs whenever we find the cure for cancer.
That's true.
That's what we're
true.
pushing
Amen
for.
to that.
So let's keep doing that.
Yeah,
but
ending it with a high note. I love
Yeah.
that. A little bit of hope. We will see you guys next time on Hope Ignited.
Thank you.